This is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Famra Boadu TV. So your best show. Say first time is yen subscribe and like video yen comment into me and share. Paul Adom Otchere afaya de afa bibi ho. Na me no kasi edubwan kwabene edubwan ho nim no. Ai enkane panya na woda National Signals Bureau ano a yede so bobo one ne yere se sika mo awia allegedly if your man ho no ano odin waba bonten abeka se sika na de bitua MPs allowances la mama for kraka se wan hwe sika yi one amanfo bi na diye now wasa siu Attorney General I abai lawyer panyi Dominic Aryine wasiu no meno ka se wa kana so anya asem keto wo eti the Republic versus Kwabene du Boahen ayetawe ama ayeti sentoko bi no bi kona oya ka obi aso efi ho no ya ka Dominic Aryine aso abusua semne mu do Paul Adom Otchere.
This is about the Kwabene du Boahen story. When documents are classified, it means that the way in which you see it, the classification, that's how they call it, the classification that they give it is never true. So if this document is classified, and I write at the back of the file, TV3 exploration, 220 CDs. If it's a national security document and it's a classified document, as soon as you see TV3 exploration, as we are hearing and we are being taught, it should tell you that the matter in this document has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with TV3. That's why it's classified. Its classification is TV3. But there may be some people who would know, a few people actually, who get to know what it really means. Sometimes, even in their briefing to the President of the Republic, the national security actors, the principal national security actors, do not even tell the President how the operation has been classified. Now, national security gets interested in all kinds of things. Their job is to create a security stabilization situation. So if they, in their context, they feel that Paul Adom Otchere has applied for a scholarship in Harvard, he didn't get the scholarship. The Harvard school fees is X thousands of cedis. And they think that it is in national security interest to have this Paul Adom Otchere guy go to Harvard for 1 year. National security goes behind and facilitates the process. Sometimes Paul Adom Otchere knows, sometimes he doesn't know. And then they will use money to facilitate the process. They will open a file, they will open a channel for that operation. They will call the thing in the classification, they will classify it as operationalpha.com. OperationAlpha.com, the National Security Coordinator, the other important people would know that OperationAlpha.com was to facilitate Paul Adom Otchere's travel to America to study at Harvard for 1 year. They will know that. And then they will say alphaoperation.com is X number of thousands. So if I'm investigating years later and I'm looking at the bank account and I look at National Security took money from here and they call something alpha.com and they spend thousands of money. What is alpha.com? What does it mean? Alpha.com is even better. If they say, for instance, afforestation in Amansia East, they can write it like that. It doesn't have anything to do with Amansia East. It has absolutely nothing to do with Amansia East. It was the facilitation of the minority leaders' participation in the Ghana-China, Africa-China conference in Morocco. It was for the facilitation of the ranking member for Constitution and Legal Affairs to participate in a training in Oxford that was training MPs about how to do subsidiary legislation. So national security finds it important to support this particular MP and a group of MPs and Parliament to attend this event. So they take money and send it to Parliament and they'll write it, reforestation in Amansia East, 100 and something thousand Ghana cedis. So if you look at that and you see reforestation in Amansia East, that is only the classification. Basically, it means in very basic language that is untrue. National security are always using classification to dissuade people who may come into contact with the information one way or the other from them not knowing what national security is doing. That's what we have been told. And that's what happens in every country. And that's what happens in every national security contest. So tonight we are trying to break it down. We are not saying somebody is right, somebody is wrong. But we are trying to tell you where Kwame Boahen is coming from. And he and his team, his lawyers, where they are coming from. So that is why we often hear, and producer, thank you for stopping me. I was going to go on and on. This my guy is very good, yeah. He sees that I've made the point, so we should move on. So he's changed the background. And that means something to me. So that is why when you see American CIA documents, they say the CIA declassified documents. When it is declassified, you can read it. You and I can read it. So this is an example of a declassified document from the United States of America, 11th March 1966, Intelligence Memorandum, the new regime in Ghana, Directorate of Intelligence. There's something in there? Okay. Then there's another one, the secret. Central Intelligence Agency, Director of Intelligence, 11th March 1966, Intelligence Memorandum, the new regime in Ghana. Now, this is the declassified. It's declassified, so you can see it. But when it was not declassified, it was not written like this. It may have been written in any way. But because they know what is the actual, the bosses, not just them, they and some important people, they all know what is the actual and what is the classification. So the classification is not the actual. So America says, we have now, after 30 years, they have a certain period within which they declassify. We have declassified the document. This is the document. But this document here was not seen like that in 1966, 67, 68, 70-something, 80-something. It's only in the 2000s that they said declassified. You can read it. So the declassified document says that after years of steady leftward movement under Nkrumah, the political pendulum in Ghana has suddenly veered sharply to the right. Within a matter of hours on 24th February, long dissatisfied senior army and police officers toppled the Osagyefo's authoritarian, Marxist-oriented power structure and set Ghana on a fundamentally different course. In terms of the country's foreign affairs, this has already resulted in a dramatic curtailment of the old regime's extensive involvement with the communist world and brought other changes having the effect of putting Ghana in line with moderate African states. Ghana had been the most dependable African base of operations for the communist world. Internally, the intentions, at least for the present apparently, is to reconstruct the body politic within a framework inspired in large measure by liberal Western values. So far, this profound upheaval has received overwhelming popular approval. 2. At this early date, however, it cannot be considered certain that Ghana will make orderly progress along the altered course. The new regime appears to have taken hold quickly and effectively, but it is still very much in its initial shakedown phase, and lines of real authority and influence are embryonic. Above all, there is the extreme difficult economic situation inherited from the Nkrumah era, etc., etc., etc. So this is declassified documents. Declassified. So when you are looking at a security document and it is classified in a certain way, it has a classification. The classification is not correct. It's not true. You have to go to the national security people and ask them that what is the declassification. Viewers, I'd like us to look at this photograph here as we explained it. It's a very serious national security matter, and I'm very concerned. I'll be telling a story in which I was personally involved relating to when I say I'm personally involved, I see that people are getting excited. Yes, I was personally involved relating to the supplying the opposition with equipment for election coverage. I'll tell you that story. But you will see that they are having an operation. I don't understand it. I have absolutely no training in this. Some of you don't have any training in this. Now, for those of us who don't have any training in this, looking at this photograph is completely meaningless to us, because this comes to us like a classification. But a surgeon can look at this photograph and say, this is the beginning of the surgery. This is the end of the surgery. This is the middle of the surgery. The way everybody's head is bowed means that they are about to take knife X. They are about to take knife Y. It is the person who understands it, who is looking at it, who can tell us what it is. I just see that they're having surgery. I see some light up there. I think the light is even beautiful. But for a surgeon, may look at it and say, there was too much light. There was little light. There was that. There was that. So this is an example of how, when we approach classified documents, as media, as everybody, we need to look at it. If it's classified, we have to secure the declassification, and then it will tell us what it means. So with that, let's now go to the letter. One of the big stories, cases against Kwabena Boahen is that, maybe we start a new one, my lady, we start a new one. One of the big cases against Kwabena Boahen is that he had opened accounts. So he has a National Signals Bureau account. Then he opens another account, which is personal to him. Then he moves money from his account into the National Signals Bureau account. That's the allegation against him. Ladies and gentlemen and viewers, here is a letter of 8th October 2018. It is written to the Chief Executive, Advantage Solutions Limited, East Legon, Accra. Attention, Miss Angela Ejay Boateng. Now, who is Angela Ejay Boateng? Angela Ejay Boateng is the same said wife of Kwabena Boahen. And this is a letter from on the National Security letterhead. Let's see what the letter says. Okay. It says as follows. Okay. It starts from here. It says, following discussions held with the Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, and subsequent agreements reached on statutory documentation required for account opening, your kind assistance is sought and approval is hereby given to open and operate special operations accounts in the name of the BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to which the Director of Government Communications Headquarters must be signatory for special operations under the Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Network, Alpha Project. So you see, we are beginning to see the classification. They are calling the project Alpha. The project is Integrated National Security Communications Enhancement Network, Alpha Project. Point 2, kindly note that the Alpha Project is tax exempt as approved by Parliament of Ghana, and the Director of the Communications Headquarters shall account to the National Security Coordinator on the operation of the accounts. 3, your kind cooperation and willingness to assist in this matter is greatly appreciated. Warm regards. Signed, Joshua Chreme, National Security Coordinator. CC Director. So the account that we have been talking about, that account, that every journalist is worried about, but why did he open an account in his own name? This is the letter of 8th October 2018, which undergird the purpose of opening that account and closes with all legality because it is authorized by Joshua Chreme, who signed it, who is the National Security Coordinator. There are some minutes here. As a PA is minuted to. So he's telling the wife of Kwabena Boahen, and in one of the documents, as I'll be showing you, Kwabena Boahen talked about how their relatives sometimes are used as national security operatives. So they go through a process, they go through polygraph tests and all of that, and then they become national security conduits for national security to do certain things, but they need a trusted agent. That's the difficulty of the story we are dealing with, viewers. And I really wish that we don't have this discussion in the media, that at least it can be held in court, in camera, or somewhere. These are matters that are concerning to national security. And it's very, 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 very delicate. So it's really worrying that you go on social media yesterday and every radio station is now serializing something that ought to be a critical national security matter. I don't understand why our politics is getting this way. That we are so NDC MPP that Ghana must suffer, Ghana must die. We are all NDC and MPP, but in the middle, in the front, is the red, gold, green. We should remember that. At the basic minimum, we should remember that. It is the red, gold, green that gives us electoral victories. It's the red, gold, green that gives us a parliament of 276. It's the red, gold, green that gives us a judiciary. It is very important. Why do we railroad politics in a way that is down? These are even people who are NDC, lawyers who are NDC. Go to social media. They are complaining that, but did our people know everything? Is it true? Is what is happening true? Anyway, so this is the letter that was written by Joshua Chreme. Let me end on the letter so we have one file, and then I will come to the next one. So let's get back to the letter. So this is the letter that was written by Joshua Chreme. So the National Security Coordinator, and he said it in the letter, he said that the operations shall report and they shall account to the National Security Coordinator on the operation of the accounts. So the account is created on the authority of the National Security Coordinator. It's a private account in UNB. And he says that, Angela, open that account. Angela Boahen, open that account. The co-signatory will be Kwabena Boahen, your husband, who is there. But the account shall be operated and accounted to the National Security Coordinator. The National Security Coordinator is the one who runs the national security apparatus. So there is the National Security Coordinator today. He must have an idea about some of these things. And even if they are prosecuting people within national security, the National Security Coordinator must be the one supplying the information. I'm not sure how it works, but it would appear so. That if you are prosecuting the Minister for Roads, and there's something that has been done at Roads that was very wrong, and for which reason you are prosecuting the minister, it is the current minister who is the complainant. When the governments come to power, the Attorney General is waiting for the ministers to inherit what they inherit, see whether they are anomalies, send the anomalies to state agencies, CID, YOCO, everywhere for them to investigate, and then it comes to the Attorney General. So we don't know whether the national security apparatus of today are part of this process and whether what they have to say about this. And that's why the letters from Kwabena Boahen was written to the National Security Coordinator, not even to the prosecution. Let me add one more thing before I end this segment. We understand, and all the media people with deep throats understand, that there is a meeting that is being converged at about this afternoon or tomorrow, where national security operatives, high profile, of the past and of the present, are hoping to meet the president, the commander-in-chief, and share with him their thoughts on these processes. We understand that that's happening, and that may have a significant impact on the trial of Kwabena Boahen. But we'll give you that information when it happens, that they are going to meet the president. Some are from his party, some are from the other party. All of them security bosses looking around and thinking that, this one is tough. We need to go and sit with the president, because they don't like this media thing. Nobody who has had the most basic relationship with security would appreciate what is happening in Ghana over the last 2 days. We have had calls from everywhere. The Nigerians are laughing at us. The Ghana, to what childish business is this? Why is your social media showing cars you bought for former president, money you gave to MPs? What is going on in Ghana? But anyway, maybe it's an opportunity for all of us to understand what happens within the system. Okay, so that's the end of the story for this letter. Let's move on. And it's now 5 minutes to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. So we are now going to share with you what you may have already seen, and we are going to go into some great detail about it. So this will constitute another file, isn't it? So it's a letter entitled, the letterhead is Confidential, National Signals Bureau. It's a memorandum to the National Security Coordinator, and it is copied to the National Security Advisor, the Director General, NSB, National Signals Bureau, and it's from Kwabena Boahen. It's May 5, and the subject is Urgent Matters Relating to Special Operation Activity and Funding. And Kwabena Boahen writes, to the National Security Coordinator, National Security Advisor, and the Director General, National Signals Bureau. The subject is matters arising. He goes on, your kind attention is drawn to certain developments that have arisen following our unsuccessful attempts to meet due to scheduling conflicts with your good office. You would recall that subsequent to my arrest and detention in YOCO cells, the Attorney General of the Republic has been very vocal in a number of press briefings where he brands my wife and I as criminals and alludes to transactions between a certain national BNC account and a private BNC account purportedly owned by us. He goes on, I cannot tell where the AG gets his theories from, but as your good office would have learned by now, the matter relates to transactions between your Special Services account, Special Operations account, Coordinated account, and SPV account, BNC Communications Bureau. SPV means Special Purpose Vehicle, by the way. Duly authorized and created for the national security exigencies of the time, and for which my wife, duly vetted, he says, and the UMB were instrumental in facilitating. It is bizarre, he says, that the Attorney General attempts to link unrelated transfers, withdrawals, and refunds for special operations with assets we do not own and a few we own, which mostly predated 2020 transactions he raised. A cursory look at the path of anyone will reveal these facts. I am also disturbed to note that the services of bloggers and social media influencers have been employed to post and run commentary on these lies, to amplify the matter and bring prominence to this malicious agenda against not just our persons, but the national security as well. As this ridiculous drama unfolds, some 49 million Ghana cedis of special operations funds have now become the subject of court action, where my wife and I, as well as other affiliates, are being accused with charges including stealing and causing financial loss to the state. I have tried to withhold classified information from my interrogators, but I deem it prudent to inform your good office that in the light of the current development, we run the risk of public disclosure of the following national security and intelligence operations expenditure items. Boom! Then he drops the bullet. Description: Special Operations Funds, Tyros Scorpion, IECN1, IECN2 Hive. Viewers, so we are getting it, isn't it? If you look on your screen now, you can see it. So let's keep it on the screen like that. So the description, viewers, is the classification. So you see description 1, Special Operations, Tyros. Tyros is somebody's star. Scorpion is somebody's star. IACN1, IACN2, it's not, is it Michaelasian there? I don't know. But they say IACN1, IACN2 Hive. That's a classification. What does it mean? Reported amount, 9.5 million Ghana cedis, year 2020. Then justification, special operations, part payments towards special cyber and electronic surveillance solutions received by ISC Holdings. Okay. Let's come to the next one. The description number 2 is Operation Conquered Fist. Counter-terrorism operation, 6.9 million. Okay, what did it do? Stability of nation, counter-terrorism, extremism. I'm guessing that was the rescue of the Canada girls in Kumasi or something, I don't know. Okay, received by various personnel and activities. Okay, next one, and this is what the Community Boahen believes, that he's being prosecuted for that. He should show how this money was used. Next one, Operation Calm Life, anti-kidnapping, violent crime. Okay, this is a kidnapping. 3.7 million. Stability of nation, counter violent crimes. Okay. Parliamentary enactment, okay, that one is there, clear. Parliamentary enactment of NSB Act 2020, 960,000 Ghana cedis. MP's allowance, Defense and Interior Committee. Next, parliamentary special payment of NSB-LI. That is 309,000. MP's allowance, Defense and Interior Committee. Let's move on and see what else is there. Elections, special ops, allowance and logistics, 7.2 million. Paid. Can you put it on so they can see? Yes, 7.2 million. That was paid in December 2024. Stability of nation, peaceful polling. The money was received by various personnel and activities. So they are asking Community Boahen that this is your 7.2 million. Who and whom did you pay it to for the national stability? Do we want him to mention the names of the people he paid it to? Well, okay. Number 7. Again, elections operations, allowance and logistics, 6.7 million, December 2024. Stability of nation, peaceful polling, various personnel and activities. Okay, number 8. Election special ops, support for party communication equipment for election results coalition, 8.3 million, September 2024. Stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality, various. Who did he pay to is written classified. Let me read that again because I would like to say something about that. Elections, special operations, support for party communication equipment, and then stability of nation classified. Let me say something about this, and it's very interesting, and I've told this story to some people, you know. When we were on the NCA, when I had the opportunity to sit on the NCA board, Boaden was the Director General, and Kweku Sechiado was the chairman. One time after lunch, we were having a conversation. This was 2018. And I was asking, so I always wanted to understand, you know, I consider Boaden as a hero, given what he had done in 2016, putting the results together and all of that. So I really like to talk to him and understand how his brain works. Fantastic guy. I mean, if we have lost him to the NCA, he's a very good brain. We shouldn't have lost. But politics comes in, and Otchere is fantastic. So I used to talk to Joe about, this is your election thing you did. How is it going to work? Then he told me that, look, let me tell you, he doesn't think that the NDC are ready for the 2020 election because we are in 2018. This was around end of 2018. We're in 2018, and the system takes at least 2 years to develop. So if they don't have it now, he doesn't think they have it, they don't have it for 2020. Me, being a natural Democrat, and what word did Kwame Boahen use? Political impartiality, yes. Cohesion and impartiality. I asked Joe that, but how much does it cost? He said, hey, it costs a lot of money. That in 2016, MPP spent millions of euros to do it. So we're all talking there, and I said, but this one, why don't we just do it for everybody? He said, what do you mean? I said, why doesn't the state? And I had been part of the, sorry, I'm going back and forth, but let me tell you this. I had been part of the process in 2000, when there was this big conversation about state funding of political parties. When the Fiat Capengola, what do they call that car? When the Fiat was given by Electoral Commission, shared Fiat for all political parties. In fact, the day Reku Brobe was going for his own, he insisted that I go with him. It was the United Ghana Movement Party. I was a member of that party, United Ghana Movement, And I love the party because Reku Brobe said it is growing people for Ghana's development. And that stuck with me. That if a political party can think that they are not going to look after, they're not going for gold, they're not going for diamond, but they are going to grow the human beings for the future of Ghana. I thought that was great. Growing people for Ghana's development. Reku Brobe, wherever you are, God bless you, and I hope you are watching this program. So I remember that conversation, that it was pushed largely, I think, by the IEA, that the state should fund certain fundamentals of all political parties so we have an equal playing field. So I told Joe Otchere that, why don't we do it for every party? Because in America, where I have covered elections before, the electoral commissioner is not important in the equation. The electoral commissioner of the United States of America, he's not important in the election conversation. He's not. Have you ever heard of electoral commissioner in America before? But he's there. He delivers the results sometime about 6 weeks after the election. He comes to do a press conference that nobody is paying attention to. Because by that time, the president-elect has already started forming his government. Do you know why? Because they have the system that the Republicans have, the Democrats have, the media have. So I was telling Joe Otchere that, why don't we spend money as government to set up a campaign, a resource receiving system for MPP, set up resource receiving system for NDC, and set up another one for the Ghana Journalists Association. I even discussed with Joe before. He'll tell you. I discussed with him this. Set up one for the GJA so that Joy FM, City FM, Metro TV don't need to pay money. Every election season we have to have meetings and try and raise money from all our sponsors. We don't need to spend, Joy FM doesn't have to spend money to get election results because Joy FM spends a lot of money. Other people spend a lot of money. City FM spends a lot of money. So we don't need that. So if we can have the system so that GJA has it, so as soon as they input Atebubu constituency, MPP 64, polling station, NDC 32, that result goes to MPP, that result goes to NDC, that result goes to the GJA. So journalists go to the GJA, whatever GJA has is what MPP have, is what NDC have. Electoral Commission too has it, but we don't care about them yet. We are dealing with the key actors. The state has provided a way in which the resources will be shared. National Security have it, NCA have it. It's the same thing we all have. Except the results have not been inputted from Sekwa. If in Sekwa, they have not imputed the results yet, then we will all not see it. If in my hometown, Kwamo, in the Juso area, Juso constituency, the results have not been inputted in Kwamo, then I can call my constituency chairman and say, "Now I couldn't say, I didn't know fan by." They will say, "Oh, you're winning, chairman, you're winning," but I feel no more church. Then I start jubilating. People around me say, "Why are you jubilating?" I say, "Yeah, we have it." But as soon as he imputes it in Kwamo, everybody sees it. That's all. And I muted this at the NCA that let's just do it. What's the problem? What do we lose? It will be there for NDC forever. When you have to service it, government pays for the service. IT things, you have to build them. So when election is coming, there's no need to panic. There's no need to worry. Electoral Commission, throw them out so that we don't now come and say, and I let every regime. We hear that the Electoral Commissioner is biased. The Electoral Commission's bias has never won anybody an election. Every year, Electoral Commission and opposition parties have made it their mantra. As soon as the thing starts, they are fighting the Electoral Commission. Then they win the election. Then they keep quiet. Then another opposition comes, they are fighting. The Afarijan knows this more than anybody else. So let's get the Electoral Commission out of the equation by knowing that results are coming to everyone. And media houses need not spend significant amount of money that they don't have. Money that they should be using to pay journalists. They are spending that money on election coverage and spending it on IT people. The state should spend that money in favor of democracy. The state. And producer, I hope that you are capturing this separately out of the Dubai conversation. This is a TV thing for the election coverage. That's different. So the state should really pay that. And I'm very passionate about this point. And those who have to support me, frankly, Kujo, are you here? The state must pay for the results collation of all relevant political parties and the Ghana Journalists Association. The state must pay for it. So if it will cost 100 million, the state should pay for it. GJA, set up your system every election time. You have the base, so they come and then they do the new things. GJA, this is it. As soon as results are imputed in any polling station, it will show up on there. And if you look at Boahen thing, it's very beautiful. When the results are coming from the polling station, the system will tell you that it is 30% declared, 40% declared, 60% left. Then we go and do the analysis. The areas left are more NDC than MPP because MPP is more likely to win. We can do all of that in the various media houses. But once we put the map that you see on Fox News is the same map you see on CNN. It's exactly and absolutely the same. So this is a good idea for Ghana, but it's not easy to push these ideas in the environment that we have when you are talking about money. But the state is going to spend the money equally. NDC will have one. What is the criteria for a political party to have or not to have? A political party that wins more than 10% of the votes in the last election is a relevant political party. So if you're a political party and you won more than 10% of the votes in the last election, you are entitled to benefit that from the state. Okay, I leave it there. That file has ended, so you just take it out. So that's why I'm concerned about the item 8. Special elections operation. 8.3 million was paid for stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality. I love that. I love that. Political impartiality. Who was the money paid to? Classified. All right. Election special ops, logistics, vehicles. 2024 Nissan Patrol Platinum. 2024 Nissan Patrol Platinum. 2022 Land Cruiser JXR. Price 5 million. December 2024. It was given to for stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality, and the people who received it were special aid to the president-elect. Asemaba. Special aid to the president-elect. Is there any problem with this? If you ask me, I don't find any problem with that. I don't find any problem with it. Because it is referring to somebody called the president-elect. That person, the president-elect, is a national security high-profile individual. Because we don't want anything to happen to the president-elect, around the president-elect, between the time he has won the elections and 7 January of the next year. So as soon as the elections are won, he becomes a national security product. Again, I'm going to tell a story. So this file and this story is separate. I don't know how many people would like me to tell this story. But when Akufo-Addo won the elections, I'll tell you, and Abu Jinapor knows the story. So the election was declared around the 10th. I think it's the same day of the declaration, yes. Charlotte Osei made the declaration around 2 to 3 p.m., I think, because everyone wanted the declaration before it was dark. So I think she got it around 2 to 3 p.m. So friends of Akufo-Addo went there. We've showed you some videos that you see a lot of people in the house. Friends of Akufo-Addo went there. The house was full. Everybody was talking. And then suddenly there was the arrival of some huge police presence. It was led by Apietu, who later became IGP. They came there, it was a lot of commotion. They entered, they got down, and we were confused about what is happening. But the president-elect was not confused, so we thought that he understands what's happening. He seemed to be looking for a file. I think he understood, or I think they phoned him that they were coming. So he was looking for his documents and trying to clear the place, something like that. Then they came, everybody get out. They were quite harsh. Everybody move out. Apietu came there, saluted him. Your Excellency, you are now the president-elect. This was his words. You are now the president-elect of Ghana, declared by the Electoral Commissioner. Congratulations. Then he nodded, he said, yeah. Then he saluted him again. Then he said, policemen should take over. Everybody leave the room. So I asked the policeman, but what's the meaning of this? He said, he's now a national asset. He's the property of Ghana. So all of you clear off. We are taking him out for a meeting. We'll bring him back. And then they drove the president-elect out. A huge police convoy. Big one. They drove him out. I don't know where they went. I don't know. I left, and later on, I was told that he came back after a few hours. But that's what it is. When somebody becomes president-elect, it is more sensitive than when he's president. Because when he's president-elect, and he's also not the same person who is the president, and there's another president, then you need to keep an eye on the president-elect. So here is the operation. Election operation logistics, vehicles. 2024 Nissan Patrol, Platinum. 2024 Nissan Patrol, Titanium. 2022 Land Cruiser, GXR. The total amount of money that it cost the taxpayer was 5.1 million Ghana cedis. And that was for the stability of nation, national cohesion, political impartiality, and it was paid to special aid to the president-elect. How did they know who is the special aid to the president-elect? They must have written to the president-elect, and he told them that this is my special aid. And they said, okay, here's the car. The special aids to the president-elect, they are alive, they are there. Joyce Bauer, Stanislav Dogbe, Felix Kwachiofosu, they are there. They should come and tell us that nobody received any vehicle as according to what Kwabena Dubois is saying. Or that they received the vehicles, but they didn't receive it from Kwabena Dubois. Or that this, or that, or that. Because we don't want these things coming up in court where the whole Ghana is now looking at it and saying, in fact, I'm very worried for them. And you know, I'm very pro-communication people. So I'm very worried for Joyce Bauer and Felix Kwachiofosu. So do you know why? The party foot soldiers are now going to say that, you people, 2024 Nissan, we did the work, and you people, because you say that you are special aid, it's going to start. And it's unhealthy for the stability of the government and the stability of the nation. This is unhealthy. So it's not something that should be discussed on media in the public domain. But as Michelle Obama said, it is what it is. Because here we are, prosecutors are lining up in the streets of public opinion and shouting on top of roofs that somebody is a thief, that somebody has stolen, somebody and his wife are thieves. So if you push a man that way, what do you expect? He's also coming to come and say that I'm a thief. When you took the car, you didn't know where the money was coming from. When you took this, you didn't know where the money was coming from. When I set up your system so that you can collate results, do you know where the money was coming from? I didn't do it for you. I didn't do it for me. I did it because of stability of the nation, national cohesion, and political impartiality. And I did it on the authority of my boss. National security is a state agency. They are appointed by the government, but they are a state agency. They are really not partial to the... If national security goes to the government today and says that, Mr. President, we need to pay Paul Adom Otchere some money. And they say, why? I say, wait. He has applied for a course at London School of Economics. If he goes to study that course, he will get some sense. He will stop the thing he's doing. Everybody who goes to study that course, we have seen that he has applied because we are looking at his email. We have seen that they've responded to him and he's responded to them that he doesn't have the money for it. How do we do it? He said, but Paul, who is his friend among us? He said, his friend among us is Mr. This your minister is his friend. He said, Minister, come. Call Paul and ask him how is he doing, and then tell him that you have some gift for him. And then when he comes, he may tell you about his LSC. If he doesn't, let us know. So Mr. say, I don't know why you there. Come to my office. I say, you NDC must come to the office. We'll be no, come in the night. I don't know that national security has spoken to him. It happens all the time. There are deeper information that are going to come out of lawyers who are sympathetic with the NDC, who are in authority today, who are giving jobs by institutions of state within the MPP because national security directed that if you have legal work, give it to this lawyer. We want to see something. Give it to him. Let's see what happens. It has happened. And if they push Kwabena Dubois, he will come and say it. And their names will be on the screen. And everybody will read their names. So that Mercedes you bought when you got that case from that state enterprise agency, it was because national security was trying to understand this and that and that and that about the work of the opposition. Because as they put it here, stability of nation, national cohesion, and political impartiality. Political parties will go and come. Ghana will be there. So national security is always interested in keeping the stability. There's a big conversation about, okay, so national security, do they benefit from some of the money as individuals? I don't know whether they do. But if they do, you may not be able to identify it as a crime because they do a lot of risky work. They run to go and chase people who have been kidnapped. They can be killed. I have seen videos of Kwabena Boahen, and I'll be showing them later. Kwabena Boahen in a hole with the kidnapped Canada girls. I've seen the video. You see him, you see his face, and you see he's the one filming, and he was making a video call to his boss and telling his boss that we found them, and there's a celebration in the video. And if you look at his face, he doesn't look, well, you can see this is Kwabena Boahen, but you see how wretched he's appearing and the gadgets that are on his body. He himself physically went to hold the hand of the girls and took them out. The Canadian girls that were blackmailed, that were kidnapped. I've seen the video. How much money was spent on that operation? A lot of money. How was it classified? I don't know. They classified as something. When it is declassified, we will get all the information that Kwabena Boahen took 2 million cedis to the Ashanti region. He paid this person that so that he gets access to here. Paid this person so he gets access to here. He hired 16 taxis and put 16 people in and sent them to a certain place. Paid them. And then he arrived and then he grabbed the girls, called his boss that we have it. It is about the name of Ghana. It's about the safety of people coming to Ghana. It's about the huge millions of dollars that we can lose in tourism. It's about Ghana's name going into the Google and having a bad image. All that is saved by that money. So the risk that they take, yes, they may be rewarded. But this is the way they operate. Human Security Ops generators, 520,000. Human Security Intervention, National Security Coordinator was the one who received it. National Security Coordinator was giving 520,000 for something called Human Security Ops generators. I don't know. That's a classification. I don't know what it means. And it is for Human Security Intervention, and that's how it was. The letter continues. He says, I give you my highest assurance that Angela, that's his wife, and I will never steal public funds as is being deliberately and wickedly portrayed by the Attorney General. In any case, how does one steal public funds in the manner being described by the Attorney General without being flagged by the Auditor General? Further, I give you my highest assurances that Angela and I would never take what does not belong to us. Even if privately arranged, we are full of content with the modest blessing God has given us. What is evidently clear is that the Iyoko boss, Raymond Asha, is deliberately misrepresenting or distorting the facts to the authorities, and in the process causing unnecessary sensation that could embarrass the government and national security. I am craving your urgent intervention to avert it before it becomes too late. My best regards from Iyoko Cells, Kwabena Boahen. Wow. 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 Hey, Asɛm. What shall we do about these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? That's what Apostle Paul said. He said, it's in Romans 11. He says, what shall we do about these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Professor Buzia said something that somebody sent to me today. He said, Kofi Abrefa Buzia, Prime Minister of Ghana, October 1969. He says, if you enter politics and ask me what qualification is needed for a politician in this country today, I would say to you, you will not make a success of it unless you have a large capacity to stomach nonsense. You must not think that the more you give, it says, you must not think that the more you give, the more loyalty and gratitude you will get. You won't. It's interesting, no? Politicians, are you listening? He said, you must not think that the more you give, the more loyalty and gratitude you will get. You won't. Anyone who enters public life must know that he is going into a place where a strange master called opinion is the most unkind of all masters. You will be made to do things you have not done. You will be made a thief, a murderer, a miser, or anything. If you are going into politics, you must be prepared to be wounded. This is Abrefa Buzia speaking in 69. The vitriol was not like that in 69. The vitriol wasn't like this in 69. Fast forward it to 2025, and it is far more relevant with heat than it was then. But let's save our country. Young people, let's save our country. Let's prove Busia wrong. Team Forger also comes to speak about this process and says that Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpa, MP for South Dai and Majority NDC Chief Whip in Parliament, was the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation at the time Boahen allegedly paid $360,000 to the committee for passing an LI. Is it not fair that a transparent probe is conducted for Honorable Dafiamakpa to appear and answer questions to confirm or deny the serious allegations leveled against his committee? When the probe begins, NDC and every other person indicted will take their turns to explain how much of the 49 million, he used the word they looted, but I don't agree with that. I don't think they looted it. Anyway, 49 million that they got. The probe is necessary and cannot be evaded. They should therefore get ready with their responses. That's Honorable Team Forger speaking. He said they should get ready with their responses. Parliament opens on the 13th of May, I hear, or is it soon? Or is it later than that? There's a lot for Parliament to look at. There's a whole lot for Parliament to look at. A whole lot for Parliament to look at when they resume, including Black Rasta. Get the Black Rasta video ready as I come to that before we go to the text messages. Martin Pebu says, Boahen's revelations paint Mohammed's government black. Does it? I don't think it does. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu has expressed concern over how the revelations made by former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Boahen, cast a negative light on the ruling government. Kwabena Boahen, who is currently on remand in the custody of Economic and Organized Crime, the Yoko, revealed confidential information contained in a memo suggesting the allocation and utilization of funds he is accused of embezzling during his tenure as Director General of the National Signals Bureau went into some sectors of government. The memo, which provides a detailed breakdown of the funds allocations, indicates that over 8 million was allegedly used to finance an opposition political party, while an additional 960 million was reportedly paid to members of parliament as allowance to facilitate the passage of the National Signals Bureau Act, among other payments made for some special operations. Additionally, the memo revealed that an amount of 1.5 million was allocated for the purchase of vehicles intended for special aid to the president-elect. Responding to the claims, Pebu stated that the allegations made by the former NSB boss, which appeared to implicate elements of the ruling government, raises serious questions about government's own involvement, especially given its strong stance on accountability and its commitment to corruption fight and the prosecution of former appointees for similar offenses. It's also the case that with these revelations, it paints the government black because that is like, why did you take money as opposition party for election monitoring and then vehicles and all those things? I mean, it does color the case, he said on TV3 on May 8th. The lawyer, however, claimed that the revelations made by Boahen do not serve as a defense against the charges he is currently facing in court. Okay, fair enough. So this is just sampling public opinion over it. We're going to come to you for that as well on the text message. Martin Pebu, it's been a while. I understand that they are offering you the office for the special prosecutor job. I'm sure you can do it very well. I'm sure you can do it very, very well. Oh, and by the way, Martin, you know the last time you and I had a three-way call, the guy who was on the third call, we unfortunately passed. Please, if you know his family, send my condolences to them. You know, Martin Pebu and I had a three-way call. We're actually arguing. You know me, I'm always arguing with lawyers. We were arguing. Martin Pebu said I said something about him on TV and it wasn't true. And then there was this other guy who knows something about me. So I said, put him on. So he put him on. We had a three-way call. We had an interesting conversation. We fought a little bit. At the end of the conversation, it was fine. And the guy has suddenly passed. And I'm so sorry about that. So I remember that the last time I spoke to him was when Martin Pebu put him on a three-way call. I'm referring to the Honorable Sam Piale. May he rest in eternal peace. I spoke to him on Martin Pebu's phone. We had a three-way call and had some arguments about politics and all that. And then this was before the election, actually. Then I heard that he passed. Martin, so please tell the family, and let's know when the funeral arrangements are published. I'm sure that President Mahama will be there. We will all go there. Sampiale is a seasoned Ghanaian politician. He was an ambassador for our country, and he was actually listed as to be an ambassador again. A gentleman. He's a very feisty guy, very tough within. He's a cadre, but he's also a very nice diplomat. May he rest in peace. It's 27.